In modern Cardiff, having a job is no longer a guarantee that you can live. A full-time worker earning the national living wage, or close to it, takes home roughly £1,400 to £1,600 a month. That income must cover rent of £700 to £950 in cheaper parts of the city, heating that can reach £200 to £250 in older homes, transport, food, internet, council tax and basic necessities. The arithmetic is unforgiving. Many residents in Western and Eastern estates, particularly Ely, Cairo, Llanrumney and Trowbridge, face longer, costlier commutes to reach better paying jobs in the centre or bay. They live in housing that costs more to heat. When the bills don't balance, payday loans, credit cards and food banks become part of the monthly routine. This is more than financial pressure. It is chronic stress, the kind that makes it harder to focus, harder to study, harder to perform at work, and harder to plan for the future. The current system does not simply reflect existing divides. In many ways, it actively deepens them. Of course, stress is not exclusive to the bottom. Many in high-paying professions face intense deadlines, long hours, and heavy responsibility. But there is a fundamental difference between stress that comes with financial security and options, and stress that offers no margin for error. A degree of divide can be healthy. It creates aspiration and incentive, but only if those at the bottom can still live a full life, not just survive, but form families, pursue interests, feel safe in their communities, and know that hard work can realistically lead somewhere better. This is the quieter heart of the divide in Cardiff. Cardiff Bay stands as one of the most ambitious regeneration projects in modern Welsh history. What was once gritty industrial dockland, built on coal exports and heavy labour, has been transformed into the glossy image of 21st century Cardiff. Glass towers, waterfront restaurants, designer apartments and some of Wales' most expensive real estate. By conventional measures, it delivered. Investment returned, tourism grew, land values soared. Today, luxury homes overlooking the water sell for over £700,000, while properties in the city's wealthiest districts regularly exceed £1 million. Yet, less than a mile away sits Butetown, historically known as Tiger Bay, one of Britain's oldest multicultural communities, shaped by generations of dock workers, seafarers and migrants. Property values around Butetown rose sharply with the bay's success, but wages in the surrounding communities did not keep pace. The result is a quieter form of displacement, younger generations finding it increasingly difficult to stay in the areas they grew up in. Many long-term Butetown residents have voiced deep frustration. Locals have described a Berlin Wall effect along Bute Street, where the regenerated Atlantic Wharf and Bay area feels completely separate from their community, leaving original Butetown people feeling marginalised in their own neighbourhood. Supporters highlight new jobs and international investment. Critics point out that much of the new wealth has washed around these communities rather than through them. In Cardiff, prosperity and pressure often exist within walking distance of each other. The divide in Cardiff now reaches beyond extremes of wealth and poverty. It is steadily hollowing out ordinary working life. House prices have more than doubled since the early 2000s. Private rents have climbed year after year. Yet wages, particularly outside London and the southeast, have lagged. Teachers, nurses, office workers, hospitality staff and graduates entering the workforce increasingly find buying a home, or even renting comfortably, unrealistic in large parts of the capital. In areas like Cathays and Roath, the surge in students has converted many traditional family homes into HMOs and short-term lets, intensifying competition for remaining housing. Even in established suburbs like Whitchurch, the squeeze is visible. The Hollybush estate, with its social housing flats typically selling between £120,000 and £180,000, sits directly across the road from private residential streets where family homes now routinely exceed £450,000 to £650,000. In the 1970s, a move from the estate into one of those homes was often considered an achievable step for a working family. Today, with house prices rising far faster than local wages, that same leap has become dramatically more difficult, illustrating how the gap between ordinary incomes and home ownership has widened across Cardiff. While the estate itself has seen more modest price growth, the private homes opposite have become increasingly out of reach for many middle-income households. The personal consequences accumulate quietly, living with parents into your 30s, sharing houses long after university, delaying starting a family, or eventually moving further out to Barry, Newport or the Valleys. Meanwhile, the city continues to project growth and new apartment blocks rise around the centre and bay. Cranes still mark the skyline. This is the disappearing middle, not collapse, but a slow contraction of what used to count as normal life in Cardiff. Around 17% of households live in social rented housing. At the top end of the market, homes in areas such as Lisvane and Kincoid can sell for well over £1 million. At the lower end, flats and terraces in parts of the south and east of the city have sold for under £150,000. In northern suburbs such as Lisvane, Kincoid, Rada and parts of Pontcanna, large detached homes, high-performing schools and low levels of deprivation are common. These neighbourhoods consistently rank among the most affluent in Wales. By contrast, communities in parts of Ely, Adamsdown, Splot, Llanydane and Trowbridge experience lower average incomes, greater reliance on social housing and higher levels of economic hardship. You don't need to cross a city to find a different Cardiff. Sometimes you only need to cross a road. In Pontprenow and Pentwyn, the divide sits on opposite sides of the same junction. In Llandaff and Gabalfa, it spans the River Taff. In Penellan and Adamsdown, it's measured in minutes. The two Cardiffs are not distant worlds, they are neighbours. Schools often reinforce these divides. Catchment areas in Cardiff's more affluent northern wards are highly sought after and frequently oversubscribed, while schools serving more deprived communities face greater social and economic challenges. Educational outcomes can vary significantly depending on postcode. Health outcomes reveal similar patterns. Healthy life expectancy can differ by a decade or more, between the city's most affluent and most deprived neighbourhoods. Children born in poorer communities are statistically less likely to progress into higher education and professional occupations. Crime in Cardiff is not distributed evenly. It follows the contours of housing, deprivation, opportunity, and neglect. For many outsiders, Cardiff is viewed as a relatively safe European capital, but crime statistics reveal sharp internal contrasts. The city records roughly 80 to 118 crimes per 1,000 residents annually, higher than the Welsh average, but not extreme by UK standards. Violence and sexual offences are the largest category, followed by public order, theft and antisocial behaviour. What stands out is how unevenly crime is spread. Cathays consistently record some of the highest rates in Wales, often exceeding 300 crimes per 1,000 residents, comparable to busy centres in Manchester or Birmingham, driven largely by its student population and nightlife. Butetown also sits well above the city average at around 243 to 260 per 1,000. By contrast, affluent northern suburbs such as Lisvane and Thornhill record just 27 to 30 crimes per 1,000 residents, among the lowest in Wales. Sharp boundaries amplify the contrast. Crossing from Pennylyn into Adamsdown or moving between Llandaff and Ely can feel like stepping between two different cities in a matter of minutes. In some neighbourhoods, daily safety is quietly assumed. In others, antisocial behaviour, drug dealing and property crime form part of the background rhythm of life. Most residents in every part of Cardiff are ordinary people trying to get by, yet the version of the city they experience each day depends heavily on where they live. These differences shape what people fear and what they take for granted. Serious violence and drug-related crime cluster in certain communities. In the last 5 years, Cardiff has seen multiple homicides, many involving knives or sharp instruments, concentrated in more deprived wards. As recently as late May 2026, 2 teenage boys were stabbed in Lidstep Park, Gabalfa. In 2025, a father of 7 was fatally stabbed in Ely. Another man was killed in a park stabbing in St Mellons, and a woman was murdered in Pennylyn. Drugs play a central role in much of the violence. South Wales Police have run major operations targeting drug lines, most notably the Clear Hold Build initiative in Butetown, which led to over 500 arrests, dozens of convictions for drug trafficking, and the seizure of large quantities of Class A drugs, cash and weapons. Occasionally, the violence reaches further. In June 2025, 2 masked men drove into Pontpreno and fired a shotgun through the letterbox of a family home, injuring a 15-year-old boy. The attack was linked to a drug-related feud. In wealthier suburbs such as Syncode, the main concern is often opportunistic burglary. In 2025, the area saw spikes in break-ins targeting large homes, with offenders travelling from other parts of the city. The pattern is clear. Day-to-day disorder, drug dealing and serious violence remain heavily concentrated in specific pockets. Affluent areas are not immune, particularly to targeted property crime, but their residents experience a fundamentally different level of everyday safety. One short journey across Cardiff can still move you between 2 very different relationships with risk. Cardiff's divide was not created overnight. The evidence suggests it has widened gradually over the past half-century. Since the 1970s, house prices have risen far faster than wages. Home ownership has become harder to achieve. The gap in health, wealth and opportunity remains visible across the city. But a new question is emerging. What happens if some of the jobs that once helped people climb the ladder begin to disappear? In 2016, car finance firm Motonovo received a £3 million Welsh Government grant to support expansion in Cardiff, with promises of hundreds of jobs. A decade later, the company announced plans to cut more than 100 roles from its Cardiff operation. A reminder that today's growth sectors can become tomorrow's redundancies. Cardiff University, one of the city's largest employers, also announced plans in 2025 that initially placed around 400 jobs at risk. Although the final figure was later reduced significantly, the episode highlighted growing financial pressures within institutions once viewed as stable pillars of the local economy. These challenges arrive as the graduate job market weakens. Some labour market data suggested graduate vacancies fell by almost 40% during 2025, while employers increasingly reduced entry-level recruitment and raised experience requirements. The effects extend beyond graduates. When fewer professional jobs are available, competition spreads throughout the labour market. Graduates increasingly apply for roles that previously attracted non-graduates, creating pressure further down the ladder. Yet the story is not entirely one of decline. In Cardiff Bay, construction is underway on a new 16,500 capacity arena, expected to create more than 1,000 jobs and attract over 1 million visitors each year. Supporters see it as the next major chapter in Cardiff's regeneration story. Artificial intelligence and automation could accelerate these changes. Some routine administrative, customer service and clerical roles may disappear. New industries and opportunities may emerge in their place. Cardiff has reinvented itself before, from coal exports to public administration, from docklands to financial services, from Tiger Bay to Cardiff Bay. The question is not whether Cardiff will change again. It will. The question is whether the next wave of growth reaches further than the last. Because if the story of the past 50 years is that the gap has slowly widened, the story of the next 20 may depend on who benefits from the opportunities that replace the jobs being lost. The divide is no longer only about where people live. It may increasingly be about who can adapt and who gets left behind.